The tension in the 90-Day Fiance household has reached a boiling point this week, and fans are reeling after Gino admitted he's at the end of his patience. In an explosive confession to the cameras, he accused his partner Jasmine of being a master manipulator, coining her the queen of crocodile tears. What followed was a cascade of emotional outbursts, painful flashbacks, and a raw look at the Fishers threatening to tear their relationship apart. The build-up, small cracks become chasms long before fireworks lit up the screen. Gino says the cracks between him and Jasmine were microscopic, unnoticeable to most, except when water got in. At first, Jasmine had the sad face. Gino recalls the quivering lip, the silent protest. He chalked it up to stress, homesickness, or misunderstanding. But over time, the instances multiplied. She'd storm off, then later sob in the other room, and always expect me to come fetch her emotions. Gino laments, voice heavy with frustration. First it was, you don't care about me. Then, you never listen. And every time, tears over little things. Over things I couldn't see as problems until she spelled them out. He says he tried. He tried to support her, tried to be attentive, tried to anticipate her needs. But with each tear, each plea, the pattern repeated. Gino says there were moments where Jasmine would burst into tears over something minor, a misheard comment, a late text reply, and in that shaky voice she'd paint Gino as inattentive, uncaring, even cruel. I felt like I was always failing, he confides, but sometimes I felt nothing I did was enough. The breakpoint, Queen of Crocodile tears, the moment that cracked through was during a dinner with friends. Jasmine alleged that Gino had insulted her in front of everyone, and her eyes welled up. Others at the table shifted uncomfortably. Gino insists he didn't say what she claimed, at least not in the way she remembers. The result? Trust shredded. Once back in private, tempers flared. I don't know how else to say this, Gino said, breathing sharp, his voice thick, but I can't take the drama anymore. I feel like I'm living with someone who cries not because she is hurt, but because she wants me to feel guilty. You make a storm, you make a scene, and then the tears come and it's always me stitching up the damage. You are the queen of crocodile tears. It's a phrase that stuns Jasmine. A slap he knows will echo. She recoils, as if struck. Gino watches, some regret flashing across his features, but also an exhaustion he cannot hide. Jasmine's retort, genuine sorrow or performative pain? Jasmine's reaction is immediate. At first, she is furious. You're calling everything I do fake, she says, voice shaking. You think I'm playing a part, but you don't live in my skin. She insists that many of those emotional outbursts weren't planned, weren't for show. She points to her loneliness, to cultural gaps, to moments she felt invisible. Yes, I cried, she says, but not to get attention, because I felt lost. Friends weigh in behind closed doors. Some say Jasmine has always used tears as her ultimate lever when words fail, when confrontation seems impossible. Others say Gino is dismissing her pain, reducing legitimate feelings to manipulative tactics. Flashbacks, the stories he tells in the weeks after Gino's proclamation. The show revisits several episodes, reframing earlier moments in light of this claim. We see Jasmine sobbing over a missed phone call. We see Gino mildly consoling there, and later Jasmine spreading the story among friends that Gino ignored her. In another scene, Jasmine cries after Gino says something about responsibility. Later she says he accused me of being immature, and those words travel. Exaggerated. For Gino, these aren't isolated. He points out a pattern when things go wrong. The tears immediately become the focus. When Jasmine wants to avoid direct conflict, she lets the emotions roll. In her narrative, she is always the wounded party, always needing his repair. He cries foul at the idea that he must constantly absolve himself of blame, even when he doesn't believe he deserves it. Emotional fallout, guilt, confusion, and disconnect. Jasmine is torn between defensiveness and sadness. She doesn't want to be called fake. She doesn't want her identity reduced to an emotional lever. If there are things she's done wrong, she admits them hesitantly, but she insists Gino's words feel like stone, not criticism. Meanwhile, Gino isn't celebrating. He says that calling someone queen of crocodile tears wasn't meant to wound, but to name what he perceives, the emotional wear of inequity in a relationship. He wants honesty, vulnerability, but also consistency. I'm not your therapist, he says. I'm your partner, and partners need to meet each other not only when tears fall. Between them, a growing question, is the crying real, or is the performative display? And perhaps more crucially, does it matter if you love someone who cries often, even if some tears may be part act? Social media storm, Fans react once the episode airs. Social media combusts. Some viewers side with Gino, applauding him for speaking out. They say he's brave for naming something often ignored in relationships: the exhaustion of emotional labor. Others slam him for having the audacity to tell a woman how to be emotional or not. Fan comment A: if she cries too much, maybe he's contributed by dismissing her so often. Fan comment B: calling someone queen of crocodile tears is cruel. Doesn't matter if some tears were real. It's not his job to judge authenticity. Some crossover comments wonder, is Gino trying to gaslight Jasmine? Are we seeing an abusive pattern of blaming? Others argue that relationship fairness must include accountability, and Gino is trying, albeit imperfectly, to demand his own. A glimmer of introspection, where they might be wrong in interviews after filming. Gino acknowledges that emotional pain is valid even when it seems overblown. He says he's guilty of shutting down, of not listening enough, of losing patience instead of compassion. But he also says he's tired of walking on eggshells, of being expected to fix every tear without understanding what really caused it. Jasmine, on her part, admits that maybe she had overused tears as a shield. She says that sometimes, after crying, she regretted that she hadn't simply asked for help, or said what she really felt. She confesses, I might have made it worse, carried grudges under sadness, instead of voicing them. Conclusion: crisis, or crossroads. At its heart, this showdown between Gino and Jasmine is more than a fight about tears. It's about communication, trust, authenticity, empathy. Does Gino see Jasmine's tears as theatrics, or as calls for understanding? Does Jasmine feel Gino dismisses her emotions as performance instead of treating them as real? The labeled queen of crocodile tears may sting, and for many viewers it feels excessive, maybe unfair. Yet in the furnace of reality TV, names catch on because they trigger something: recognition in hurt, in overreaction, in feeling misheard. What this couple now faces is whether they can rebuild. If Jasmine is willing to take responsibility for the weight her emotional storms place on Gino, and if Gino can meet her pain with gentleness instead of criticism, they have a chance. But if the tear cloud continues to obscure truth, then this may simply be the beginning of much deeper fractures. Epilogue: what viewers are left thinking: could there ever be a right way to cry in a relationship? When does expressing hurt become manipulation, and who gets to decide? Is the real issue the tears themselves, or the inability of the partners to meet each other honestly? Queen of Crocodile Tears echoes now in the show's commentary and among fans, not just as an insult, but as a mirror. Many people recognize the pain of feeling undone by someone else's sorrow, or the guilt of crying and then being judged. Whether Gino's words were harsh or healing depends, ultimately, on what happens next, whether Jasmine responds with clarity, and whether Gino can listen not only to the evidence of tears, but to their roots. In the world of 90 Day Fiance, where cameras magnify every glance, every silence, every burst of emotion, few things are simple, and perhaps this moment is not the end, it's the turning point.